So the first question we have is, what is the biggest challenge in your life?
Well, I just retired like a year and a half ago, so trying to find a new way of living in the city, setting a new routine, doing things that I didn't do while I was working. But it's a lot harder than what you would think.
Yeah, I bet.
Especially if you've lived here for many years like I have. It's like hard finding new things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What job did you retire from?
When I left, I worked for the Department of Education with a group of schools for kids that were at risk of not graduating on time. So there were a lot of extra support services available to them, internships, paid internships. So it was a great program.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you lived in the city?
Probably 35 years now, maybe a little more.
How do you feel like you've changed with the city over time?
Well, I was terrified when I got here. I didn't know a soul. I came here with a boyfriend, and that lasted about 6 months. So then I was on my own, and I think the only thing that kept me here was my pride, because there were days when I just felt totally lost. And I think it took me probably 2 years to kind of get my footing and feel comfortable in the city. But it changed my life. I have absolutely no regrets at all.
What would you tell yourself at that time, if you could tell yourself anything, when you first came to the city?
To be fearless and to welcome new things. Step out of your comfort zone.
Do you have any regrets?
No, not really. I don't. I mean, I regret not being closer to my family. They're all in Florida, but being here has meant that all of them have gotten to come to New York where they may not have sought it out otherwise. And I'm especially happy because my nieces and nephews started coming when they were just like little kids and still come. So New York is kind of like a second home for them in a way. Yeah.
Do you give a fuck about what people think about you?
No, I'm too old to give a fuck.
Amazing.
You mentioned work. How do you feel like you balance life and work?
I don't think I did a very good job of it for a long time. I mean, I've had different jobs in New York City, and some were just extremely demanding. And so you would really not have much of life outside of work. But I always had jobs that I really liked my colleagues, and several of them became friends, and people that I first met when I got to New York are still friends today. So thank God those friendships were built into my work.
Yeah. Do you have kids?
No, I don't. I always thought I would, but I don't. I have 7 brothers and sisters,
That's
so
enough?
they all have kids, and
Yeah.
they all feel like mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you happy you don't have kids? Or?
No, I mean, I see babies all the time and think, oh my God, it would be wonderful. I always say to myself, I wish I could find one under a bush. I love kids. I absolutely love kids.
Yeah. Why New York?
Boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was living in Florida. He was a teaching artist that came from New York, and we dated for a couple of years, and when he came back, I came back with him.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have probably had the nerve to do it alone.
Yeah. And are you happy you did now?
I am very happy. One of the things that, I think I've discovered is I live here alone, and I have a great circle of friends, but making plans for the future, like I used to travel internationally a lot, partly related to my work, but it's much easier to do things if you kind of have a partner in crime. And I think that holds me back.
What would you tell your younger self about relationships?
That's a hard one. I think your friends and family are a good judge of sometimes who you seek out or end up with. And I felt like sometimes my family or friends' reactions were right about the people or the men I was seeing, and it took me a while to discover it, and so I've wasted time in relationships that didn't deserve it.
What's the secret to your happy life, do you think?
Well, I attribute a lot of it to being in New York City. Because every day is a different day. Even if your routine is the same, once you step out your door, you never know what's going to come your way, good or bad. And my happiness is also very tied to my family. I'm really close to them. And I have great friends.
Yeah. How do you lead a full life in New York?
I need to lead a fuller life. I mean, I can go days and not have a conversation with anyone. And then, things kind of ramp up and you have all these social activities and then you sort of go back into your old routine. So I think I could use some work on that.
Mm-hmm. How do you deal with your inner critic?
I tend to listen to it.
Do you have any hobbies?
I used to paint ferociously, and for some reason I just haven't done that since I've been retired. I've gone out and bought all new brushes and paints, and then have my easel set up, and it just sits there and looks at me.
Yeah.
But I think about it every day, and every time I see art, I feel like a little pain in my heart. And I think at some point I'll go back to it.
What is your relationship like as an artist with the world around you, but also your own creative interpretation?
I'm inspired all the time by things I see that I have hundreds of photos on my phone that I take when I'm out and about. Things that I would like to paint. And I think there's this expression for things like the other day I saw this was dog shit on the sidewalk, but the way it was smeared, it looked like the head of an antelope.
Yeah.
And so I took a picture of that. I mean, there's just so many idiosyncratic things that
There's art
can
everywhere.
kind of trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's great.
Okay.
Okay.